Welcome.
Hey everyone.
Our 25th anniversary.
25th weekly anniversary of Happy Life Results Reading Book Group live Q&A with the author Stacy McPherson.
Welcome everyone. I'm gonna click X.
Oh yeah, click X.
Okay.
All right. So let's just jump right into it today because we have a lot to talk about. We have one question that's a whole spider web of questions related to it.
Yes.
So we thought, let's just kind of jump right into it. I guess if we waited, we could talk for a little bit in case people are going to come on. Is that?
Yeah, we've got about a couple more weeks, 3 more weeks left of.
We're going to talk that long? Okay, guys, we'll be here for a couple more weeks until you come on. We're waiting.
No, until we finish the heroes section and the end of the book.
So that's what we're talking about. Yes. I'm on the same page now. Yeah, that is exciting. Yeah, and it's been fun to see new book group members. I've seen just in the last week about 10 more people join.
Yeah, and we've had some people comment that haven't before,
Yes.
so we really appreciate
We love
you
that.
guys.
That's awesome. And so, yeah, and we've mentioned before, but since there are brand new people in the group, you can comment from wherever you're at. Everyone's at a little different spot in the book group. Even though there are 9 concepts in the guide phase, there are 9 concepts in the hero phase. You go through the preview, the translation, and then the hero stage. Everyone's at different stages, so share from where you are.
Yes.
And we, as you've probably noticed, we like to jump in there and answer questions and contribute wherever those are at.
Oh, one of the things I wanted to say is this last week we posted a part in the hero section about game changers and applications, and this is actually so exciting because what you're actually doing is this is where you're applying the concepts to your daily life. And I remember all the way through the guide stage, I would be like wanting to tell people about this part, the game changers and applications, but then I'm like, I can't tell you about it yet because we're doing just the translation stage. And then at the beginning of the hero journal, there's a lot, hero, not journal, but hero section. And then there's a lot of preliminary information that we're giving you, the different sections, the thumb and the sun, and how, your language learning analogy and all of these things that needed to happen first before we could talk about true application. So this week we are actually in full-on application, creating your game changers, creating your applications for your game changers and doing it for 24 hours at a time. And so this is a super powerful, super exciting part.
This is one of the analogies from Stacy's book had to do with drawing. So if you're learning the theory of drawing and learning about what pencils do and stuff like that, but you haven't had a chance to actually pick it up, or I'll use a crayon. You've had someone else talking about crayons and talking about what you're going to draw and everything, but they haven't given you the crayon and the paper yet. This week you get the crayon and the paper. This is where the hero work starts. This is where we're actually talking about how you apply and what areas of your life do you want to change. What are the areas of your life that you know you can get more out of? This is where that starts to happen. So there have been questions along the way where people are already applying it, and that was awesome too. But this is where as a group, we've come to the spot where we start thinking about how do you apply it day-to-day basis. What are the tips and tools to help you use the concepts then, but how do the concepts apply to how you're living your life and the results you're trying to get?
Yeah, it's so exciting. I've been so excited for this stage the whole time.
Okay, so let's jump into the question now.
Okay.
All right, so the question has to do with, do you want to, I think I'll just let you describe the question and the answer.
Okay, all right, so the question are there instances where physically a person is not able to assimilate the ideas of up mastery. Is there something are there things that go on physically where you don't...
Physically or mentally, right?
Yeah, sorry, physically or mentally, that make it so that you're not able to kind of have an up journey? Like, is there criteria that needs to be met first?
Yeah, because it's kind of the idea that these are advanced concepts. I mean, they're basic, but they're also advanced. In order to do something like examine the way you view things and change it and make whole person shifts and that kind of stuff, that's kind of heavy lifting, can be considered heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it could seem like you have to be in a space physically, mentally, emotionally where you can do that, right? And you've kind of talked about if you are going to try to, like, say your world is rocked.
Yes.
And the world's still spinning.
Yes.
Then you try to wait until you're kind of grounded again a little bit before you actually pull things out and try to make changes, right?
Right,
okay.
right.
So it's kind of coming from that.
It's coming from that, and to realize that there will be, so there are a lot of different angles we could come at it from, and I wanted to come at it at the angle of wherever you are, is there a lens that would support the learning of up mastery the most? Because if you say, I can't learn up mastery until my life changes, or until this is better, or things like that, yes, on a very temporary basis, maybe wait till the afternoon, wait till the morning, wait till next week. But like if you're always thinking now is not the time,
or if it's a chronic situation,
very important.
So if it's a chronic situation, it's not going away.
Yeah.
Then you have to work with what you have.
Work with what you have.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. Yeah.
So the concept of limitlessness, we're not saying, and again, we're not doctors, we're not health professionals, we're not mental professionals. We're giving you our perspective, our opinions, and what we're saying is, the lens that what we think we know about what we're capable of is probably not entirely accurate. Like, there's probably some wiggle room, maybe a lot of wiggle room. Maybe we're not even close to your potential. So with what you have, start to work with that.
Yes.
There's always room to improve, always room to grow. So rather than thinking, oh, I can't even start the journey if I have these issues. Right?
Yeah, or recommend the journey to someone else who has chronic issues.
I can't tell them to start it because they have these issues. And so rather than prejudge them and rather than keep the chance away because we think, oh, well, it will be too hard or it will be too...
Yeah, and at one point I was talking to this with someone and they said, we don't know. Maybe someone in crisis is better able to rewire their brain than someone else who's just going along in their happy, merry way. Like, we don't know. Like, we have seen evidence that when people are in a more stable mindset that they will regularly visit the ideas. But so I've also coached people in crisis where they were already rewiring their brain because they were already revisiting all of their core beliefs. And so when I introduced them new ideas at that point, then they had a lot of positive results.
And that can happen sometimes when things are going nice and smooth. If the approach you use to making change is to wait until there's a push or pain, then sometimes people only make change after that.
Yes.
It's after, it's not in the middle.
Yeah, it's after.
But sometimes that's where people make their progress. That's if they're using that model, right?
Yeah.
But not taking it from the how can you make change and do it the fun way without the pain.
Yeah.
Right. But Stacy's been reading an interesting book with some recent studies. We won't go into it in detail here, but one of the things that I would like to mention from it is that even the model of where emotions, where stress, where physical pain, where sickness, the model of how those work that hasn't really been changed for thousands of years. They've been doing a lot of studies trying to figure that stuff out. And they're seeing a different model taking shape, and it's
called the model of constructed emotion.
Yeah. And it's really fascinating how closely the new studies align with Stacy's book and her concepts that she's been teaching. And so here's the thing, if you haven't gotten much into this yet, okay, Stacy's book was not written from her reading a bunch of studies and kind of summarizing the studies or taking a bunch of written stuff and then applying it to get the changes in her life. Stacy wrote the book after she had changed so many things about her life, and then she was like, how did I do this? How did I get to it? And then reverse engineered the process.
Yes, and then use the process on myself to get further growth.
So everything that was in the book was from actual application and using it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And that's also why she's here to give support, is because she's gone down this road. But so it's really cool for her to find studies that were done recently that support.
Like things that were just found out in the last 2 years, things because of the neuroscience advancements that are happening in the world right now. So it's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll figure out some of the quotes and things to share in the group.
Definitely.
And we'll incorporate those in at some point. But it's interesting. Yeah, but they are support for saying, oh, maybe this is why what Stacy's doing is working. It's maybe this is maybe this makes more sense why this happens this way and not that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so the whole inside out approach, instead of outside in, stuff makes me feel a certain way, stuff makes things happen inside, this 100% supports the inside out approach.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Oh yeah, so one of the questions before we started, you talked about the mind-body connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because the question was about physical and mental ailments,
Mm-hmm.
especially chronic ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would you say about when you're in the path to trying to get the results you want in life? How do you view that mental versus emotional versus physical?
Okay, so what I would like to say is to whatever your view is of, and you can make this as specific or broad as you would like, whatever your view is, that is your lens. And if you think certain criteria need to be met before you can, whatever it is, just look at, say, I need to be at this level of health before I can accomplish this kind of thing. Or if even like saying that my physical health affects my mental health, or my mental health affects my physical health, whatever it is that you believe, it's the lens you're using. And then what you do is, once you kind of have an idea of what your limit is, look at it and say, is this serving me? Is this helping me get the results that I want? Is this helping me feel the way that I like to feel? And if the answer is no, then just revisit your lens and say, is there another belief I could try on, practice, and then go forward with that one? So one lens, like I'm talking a lot in theory, but one, if you were to get more practical and say, you could say, I think that I need to have a specific aspect of my health improved before I can have really good solid progress in up mastery. Like just say, I need to fix this thing first in order to, and then just ask yourself, is that a limiting belief or is it an expansive belief? And then if it's limiting, then just being open to another belief is a really good step. It's like you don't even have to know your limit or know an end result. You just have to say, maybe I misjudged it. Maybe there's another way to look at it, and then just try that on for a little while and say, well, maybe my physical isn't as important to my emotional as I think, or maybe my emotional isn't as important to my physical as I think. So I mean, I do this like when I'm and this has come up a lot today in our family conversation, and that is, I used to be sick a lot, like a lot. Starting from when I was a kid, I was sick a lot. And so just, I went through kind of, in my transformation stage, I stopped being sick a lot, and then I started being rarely sick. And so looking at my transition and my transformation, you could ask the question, well, did your mental health affect your physical? Did your physical affect your mental? And a lot of people do have a holistic approach where it all is one self. We're all whole, a whole being. But if you have any beliefs about, okay, that they're separate, or that, just to explore those beliefs.
Yeah, I liked Stacy earlier said she was really good at being sick.
Yeah.
She's like really good at it.
I could get out of anything and be genuinely sick.
Like you can't even leave. You just go around in a blanket and just kind of
and you have a fever.
Yeah,
and
everything. Just
coughing, and so you really can get out of anything if you're so obviously sick.
And it's interesting because when you're feeling sick, you're feeling sick. There's no one that can say no, you're not feeling sick. You're feeling it. But same with when you're feeling sad, feeling bad, feeling stressed. When you're feeling it, there is no one who can look inside of you and say, oh, no, that's not, you're not really feeling stressed, right? So someone else saying, well, okay, maybe it's the lens you have that's lensing itself to because if it's an inside out approach, that you're actually constructing, you're forming the way you feel from the inside out. You have, if the joystick is yours, and if the joystick affects more than just whether or not you're happy, which is what we've talked about, the state. Your state, that includes physical, mental, emotional, like your state. We're talking about peak state, not just peak happiness.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have a joystick for your state, then if something's amiss, it's definitely amiss. No one's going to say, no, it's not. Oh, it's all in your head or anything like that. No, it's there. But how much can you influence it to shift, to improve it, if you open yourself up to the possibilities?
Yeah, opening yourself up to the possibilities.
Yeah.
Just being curious about it. Not even changing your beliefs about it, but just saying I'm open to new ideas and new ways of dealing with it. One of the things that I did differently when I used to get sick a lot in that transition, what I did was I started acting like I wasn't sick when I was sick, and when I wasn't sick, I did the things that I reserved for my sick self to be able to do. So it was like when I was sick, I got all of these comforts and I got free passes, and I got, all of these benefits from being sick. And then when I wasn't sick, then
you're like, oh, I can't do this.
I can't,
I need
just
to be
lounge
productive.
around.
I need to just be constantly getting this stuff done.
Yes.
I can't just sit there and read a book or
and
something.
I would definitely limit my activity when I was sick. I wouldn't exercise. I would really just stay in bed and feel sick. And that's what I thought I needed to do for my body to have optimal healing. I was like, bodies need rest when they're sick. You can't just keep on doing normal life when you're sick, or you'll get more sick, or you'll deplete your immune system more, or you'll, things like that.
She had a
very strong belief system about that.
And so it was true.
It was true. It was my life, and that.
Yep. And if you didn't do something to change that, that's how you would still think. You would still, and that, so if you have things that are truths, personal truths, because that's the way you've experienced it, I guess what we're saying is it might be that because that's how you've experienced it.
Yeah.
So when Stacy started testing and trying all different things.
Yeah, like I would say I'm going to have a sick day, and I would stay in bed and I would watch movies, and I would just, just cancel all of my appointments, and I would just be like, today is my sick day.
But feeling great. So not
great.
feeling sick, feeling great, but do all the things that.
Yeah.
And she's not saying that's what she's recommending. She's saying that's how she tested what was real and what was just happening that way because that's how she had done it in the past.
Yep. And so then when I was sick, now this doesn't work as well right now because we're very conscious of not spreading our illness, but I would not tell people I was sick because it was,
And how
Preach.
much, yeah,
Yeah,
how much of it is symptoms that we come up with? How much of it is, yeah,
yes.
but anyway, yes.
But I would not try to expose people, but I would, as much as possible, keep my routines. Whatever it was I was doing that day, I would keep it. And I would go to the gym even. Maybe I didn't do as intense of a workout, but I would try to do a maintenance workout. And so those two things were, what they were doing was exposing my belief system to myself so that I could observe it and say, actually, I'm saying this is true, but just like you said, why did I believe it?
Yeah. So the difference from her being a pro at being sick and being sick a lot to, so if she were to think that she had to be healthy in order to make the changes, she would be pretty limited on how much she could do. But instead she took that stuff, I mean, still from wherever you were, right? You did it gradually, step by step kind of thing. And that's what, she's not recommending that people
no, just
jump
like
off
I don't
the
tell
cliff
people
and,
they need to do fasting. I don't tell
Yes.
people. I'm just saying this is the way that I expose my beliefs to myself to observe them in a more objective way, so that I could choose the lens that served me the best.
Yeah. And so now, after a couple of years of testing these things out, now you have a completely different relationship with your body, with your perspective of what it needs, how much it's capable of.
Yes, so much different.
Yeah, completely different. She's a completely different person.
Yeah, I take better care of myself than I ever have, but I've also learned that I can do way more than I ever thought I could.
Yeah. So I guess our message is, wherever you're at, whatever your current beliefs are, work within those and start to explore what else is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for joining us
Thank
today.
you, everyone. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.